Hello everyone, it's me, Andrew, and I should really know better when it comes to video game movies. After all, I just hosted a whole video about why games are just about the worst source material for a 2-hour film, but I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment. I'm still fascinated by awful video game adaptations, and today we're starting a new series all about Hollywood's failed attempts to cash in on gaming's greatest franchises. Welcome to Cutscene, where we explore the painful process of turning simulation into cinema. And who knows, we might actually stumble across a few good movies along the way. But we're definitely not starting out on a positive note. For our first episode, we're going back 25 years to where it all began, 1993. You smell that? The 16-bit era is in full swing. NBA Jam and Star Fox just made their debuts, and Doom is exploding the PC gaming scene. It also marked the release of the first live-action adaptation based on the legendary game that defined an industry, Super Mario Bros., the disastrous debut of video game movies. This movie is a mile-a-minute bullshit speedrun, and both on-screen and behind the scenes, there were plenty of reasons why it bombed big time at the box office.
The only thing miraculous I know is that we're still eating while we're going broke.
We ain't going broke, Mario. We're already there.
We'll get to the on-set boozing, horrific accidents, and all-around chaos later. But first, we've got to address the fundamental flaw. It's the Mario movie no one asked for. Now, don't get me wrong, there's always been a demand for Mario media. He's been in cartoons dating back to the Donkey Kong days.
Don't you ever get tired of being chased?
No.
And even starting a Japan-only anime back in '86, before Luigi was even green. And we can't forget the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, which gave us our first live-action Mario and Luigi and taught us the greatest dance in human history.
Take one step, and then again, let's do the Mario all together now. Come on now, just like that.
Animation seems like the perfect medium for Mario because it delivers exactly what you expect from playing the game. It's the best method for delivering Nintendo's simple and colorful world. Unlike live action, which doesn't exactly lend itself to flying cloud turtles or go-kart tracks made of rainbows. In order to make it a movie, they had to manufacture a drastically different vision of the Mario that we'd all come to know and love. The closest cinematic fit is the fantasy genre, and even that's a little too grounded to describe what the Mushroom Kingdom even is. But that's what producer Roland Joffe had in mind when he won the rights from Nintendo amidst a heated bidding war.
$1 jillion.
Sir, that's not a number.
The original script was a fairy tale story with a sardonic twist, kind of like The Princess Bride with leaves that turn you into raccoons.
Inconceivable!
It was a little on the expensive side, and once husband and wife duo Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel signed on to direct, they started over with a new script that stuck to the sci-fi roots of their earlier creation, Max Headroom, who was a futuristic TV host that blended the boundaries between what's real and what's digital. And it is a loopy f***ing hell ride.
Good luck, and see you in London. Ha!
Morton and Jankel brought a Blade Runner aesthetic to the Mushroom Kingdom. And while Cyberpunk Mario might be a great idea for your DeviantArt page, the slimy dystopian setting of the movie clashed horribly with the teeny tiny bits of original lore that they decided to keep.
Oh my God! Look at that! Get out of here!
It takes a lot, and I mean a lot, of finesse to create a world where grimy police stations exist side by side with dinosaurs and magic sentient fungus. I mean, it's 25 years later, and we still haven't figured it out. They tried to bring real-world elements to the cartoon world of the game instead of just embracing it. Now, Bowser is a fascist politician, Toad is a folk singer,
You know the law, Toad!
Hey, wait a minute! You can't arrest a guy for just singing a song!
and the Goombas are evolution experiments gone wrong.
Go Goomba! Join the Goombas!
Added to that, they also had a body horror scene.
It's Toad. He gets like devolved.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Morton wanted to make a sophisticated film that would show parents that the games that were rotting their kids' brains weren't just a mindless waste of time.
I can't believe you can do that. Because we're sitting on my butt all day playing video games, that's why.
The problem is, Nintendo's entire universe is basically just pleasant window dressing for your button inputs. Don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on Mario or Link or any other Nintendo IP. I love them just as much as you do, but Nintendo's staple and core rule is that gameplay comes first. That's just hard to simulate on the screen. If you want, you can watch our Jumanji video, we talk more about it. I literally have no idea what a good live-action Mario movie would look like.
Dude, what are you doing? Where's your Mario costume? No, I went with a sexier look.
But I know that it would definitely have to be at least a little bit cuter. The charming, simple world of the Super Mario Bros. Games is a big part of why we love playing them. But the filmmakers endlessly tried to rationalize and justify it for the movie. The script went through 9 writers and a dozen revisions trying to find the right tone. And just when they settled on a draft, the studio demanded that they dumb it down and make it more kid-friendly. The constant rewrites drove the cast and crew utterly insane, which is another factor that drags the whole movie down. Everyone was miserable. The awesome cast is easily the best part of Super Mario Bros., but it could have been much different. For example, Tom Hanks was signed to play Mario originally, but the studio didn't think he had enough star power and let him go.
Am I being fired?
Nintendo was dead set on Danny DeVito, which definitely makes more sense in my opinion, but they eventually settled for Bob Hoskins, which is a pretty awesome compromise as far as I'm concerned. We could have also had Arnold Schwarzenegger or Michael Keaton as Bowser, but I'll take Dennis Hopper with some lizard hair doing his best Frank Booth any day of the week.
Get ready to you
That's 2 legit acting legends on board. 2 Hollywood giants taking mud baths and walking the dinosaur. And both of them lived to regret it.
You bastard!
The shoot ran long, the script was constantly changing to something way different than what they had signed up for, and Morton and Jenkel's micromanaging style was getting on everyone's nerves. We can't say for sure how crappy it was, but it must have made a really bad impression because the cast has been shitting on them in interviews non-stop for the last 25 years. Hopper gladly admitted he was only in it for the paycheck and criticized Morton and Jenkel for being control freaks. Bob Hoskins, R.I.P., had even harsher words. He said it was the worst thing he ever did, that the directors were, quote, fucking idiots, and called the whole shoot a, quote, fucking nightmare. Seeing a pattern here? Me and Bob Hoskins like to curse. It's a fucking nightmare. John Leguizamo, who played Luigi, was even more bummed.
So I turned it down for Super Mario Brothers, and then of course they all won Oscars, and I won the John, How Could You Be So Stupid award for my wife.
He chose Mario over an Oscar-baity role in the prestigious movie Philadelphia, which landed Tom Hanks his first Best Actor award. Kudos to Tom Hanks, completely dodged a bomb and won an award. Despite their shared misery, or more likely because of it, Leguizamo was able to hit it off with his co-star. In his biography, he talks about slamming shots of scotch between takes with Hoskins, to the point where the two were pretty much wasted throughout the entire shoot. At one point, Leguizamo was allegedly driving around in the plumber's van after a few too many, when he stopped suddenly and sent the sliding door smashing into Hopkins' hand. He broke the out of it, and he had to wear a cast for the rest of the shoot, which was painted pink in an unsuccessful attempt to hide it from the camera. The set was chaos, and in all fairness, it didn't sound too easy on the directors either. Budget problems and studio interference played a big part in the movie's failure, and overall, it just didn't seem like a fun project to be a part of.
Are we dead?
Isn't that why we play games in the first place? Fun. And if the circumstances prohibit that, you could at least make up for it with some good old-fashioned pandering.
Goomba!
But that's the last big problem. The fan service sucked. When I first saw the movie, my biggest takeaway, besides wanting to blow my nose, was one simple question. Just one. Why did they make the Koopas dinosaurs? In the games, there are clearly turtles, and it's not like those weren't popular at the time. But I can't even accuse them of wanting to rip off Jurassic Park because that came out 2 weeks after Super Mario Bros., and it drove the movie into extinction at the box office. Morton claims he wanted to depict the real-world events that inspired the games, but really the movie just seems so embarrassed by its so-called kiddie origins. I'm not saying they had to go all in and strap a styrofoam shell to Dennis Hopper, but Throw us a dry bone here. As fans, it's a stretch to find any connection we can. Is that lady protecting her baby supposed to be Birdo?
Get away from my baby! Get away from my baby!
Is the asshole at the construction site who turns into a monkey really Donkey Kong? Oh, I get it. The bumper cars are like Mario Kart. We shouldn't have to try this hard. I would have been down for the idea of a cyberpunk Mario Brothers, but you gotta give me more than just wallpaper and visual gags. So what if there's a bunch of bars named after bad guys you'd only know from reading the manual? The Wiggler sign is cute, but if you want to justify the ticket price, I'm gonna need to see a bipolar worm with a flower on its head. I actually liked the way that the movie portrayed the Shy Guys and the Sniffets as faceless hazmat workers, but I wanted so badly to see more of that. The filmmakers didn't have the budget or the passion to explore the possibilities of a dark sci-fi take on Mario, but the movie still has plenty of fans who are enthusiastic about the potential. A few years ago, an unofficial but pretty polished comic book sequel resolved the movie's sadly optimistic cliffhanger ending.
Luigi, Mario, I need your help.
Daisy! What's wrong?
You're never gonna believe this.
It was made with input from one of the original screenwriters and mixes the dream world of Super Mario Bros. 2 with the film's canon and aesthetic. You can see what the directors were going for without real-world limitations like low budgets or lack of vision. Those two problems are going to plague video game adaptations for a while, but I doubt Nintendo's new animated Mario movie will have to worry about them. Nintendo is wisely keeping production on a tight leash this time, which means it'll probably feel a lot more like the games. As far as telling a compelling story though, only time will tell. But someone damn sure dropped the ball on their first go-around. As the debut video game movie, Super Mario Bros. Set a low bar to clear for the whole genre, but chronologically, things are gonna get worse before they get better. Stay tuned for the next cutscene for another in-depth look at an awful video game movie. And until then, this is Andrew saying, trust the fungus. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching our video. I'm so hyped to start this new series. I've been wanting to do video game content forever, and I want to know what movies you want to see covered on Cutscene. Double Dragon, Warcraft, House of the Dead? Leave a comment, let us know, and as always, please subscribe to NowThis Nerd. Now if you'll excuse me, I gotta go save the Mushroom Kingdom.